Okay, before it's fall.
There is a fall. There is a crack that appeared in one of the tablets of the Ten Commandments. Now this was something. Please keep moving forward so everybody can see it. Thank you. For Mr. Butcher would have to do so while lying flat on his back on the scaffolding a mere 1.5 to 2 feet from the ceiling. Very exhausting work. In fact, he would spend between 18 and 20 hours a day painting. And at one point he started to paint what we call a little blue angel. And you can see this blue angel if you look about the third window over, or the second circular painting over, straight up from there, peeking out from behind the purplish cloud. Do you see it? This is an unfinished angel. It was at this point that Mr. Butcher felt like going home and pray about it. And when he woke up the next morning, he had renewed vigor and enthusiasm and strength enough to continue painting all the beautiful murals we see today. And so Mr. Butcher left that angel just as he is, unfinished, as a constant reminder to both himself and to us that the Lord always comes through for us during our most important ways and turns. And I'd like to spend the page just 7 days of scripture found in Genesis chapter 1. From left to right, on the first day, God said, "Let there be light." And look what happened. The angels turned on their flashlights. On the second day, God divided the water. There used the angels from the garden road. On the third day, the dry land appeared. On the fourth day, God created the sun, the moon, and the stars, and maybe, just maybe, even basketball. In fact, our heavenly host team there are called the Shooting Stars. On the fifth day, God created the fish and the fowl. On the sixth day, God created animals and man, his crowning act of creation. And then, of course, on the seventh day, God rested. Now, the rectangular paintings just below these represent Mr. Butcher's tribute to the arts revival. From left to right, we have David with his harp, symbolic of the musician, Bezaleel, the tabernacle artist, symbolic of the painter, and the Apostle Paul, writing one of his many great letters to the early church from behind prison walls, symbolic of the writer. Now, would you please walk your left against the railing and scroll most of these? From left to right, we have Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, Noah and the ark, Balaam and his very donkey, Deborah, the old female judge of Israel, David, the shepherd boy, Daniel, and the lion's den. And if you look very closely, you will see that there are bones lying on the floor of that den. Herein may lie a clue as to why the lions did not eat them. They were already full. Then there is Jonah and Whale. Now the larger paintings in the center represent some of the great heroes from the Old Testament. Again, from left to right, we see Richard and his 3 angels descending and ascending into heaven. Joseph, as he is sold away into slavery by his brothers. Moses, as he is retrieved from the river Nile by Pharaoh's daughter. Joshua, kneeling in prayer before the battle of Jericho. Ruth and Naomi. Hannah, as she fulfills her promise to the Lord. And Queen Esther, as she pleads the case of her people before the king of Persia. The oval paintings just below these represent the 4 aspects of Christian ministry. From left to right, we have prayer, praise, preaching and teaching, and fellowship. Now would you kindly walk with me to the opposite side of Bethlehem. The 3 wise men following the star in the east, and this star just hail not come. The flight in the east, the boy Jesus with Joseph at the carpenter's shop, and look what they had to work on there. A little red wagon. Jesus at age 12 confounding the 10 elders with his great wisdom and knowledge. Crucifixion Day and Mount Calvary. And here Mr. Butcher has chosen to emphasize the mourners. And then, of course, the greatest day in all history. The day when Jesus rose triumphantly from the grave. Behold, the empty tomb. On the right, we have the sower of seeds. The prodigal son venturing off toward worlds unknown. The lost sheep, Jesus said he was the good shepherd who came to seek and to save that which was lost. The proud Pharisee and the humble publican, the good Samaritan. And here the artist has helped out the good Samaritan by giving him a modern-day first aid kit. The pearl of great price. Jesus said his kingdom was a pearl of great price, just waiting to be found. The wise man who built his house upon a rock, as opposed to the foolish man who built his upon sand. Who looks like they fared better in that picture? Now the old paintings just below these represent the only non-biblical murals in the chapel. These are of Grandpa's Island. And immediately following the tour, if you exit out the chapel in back on this side, you will encounter a terrace overlooking Grandpa's Island, and there's a castle sitting on it. This was made just for Mr. Butcher's grandchildren, of whom he has painted 13 in each of these scenes, representing the 4 seasons. But since he painted these murals, he now has 5 more grandchildren, totaling 18, so you can see he still has his work cut out for him. Now we can kind of walk to the front of the chapel, except for this nurse angel standing behind the doctor angel of the heart that was added only last month. Now Mr. Butcher has included into each of these scenes real people who have passed away and gone on to heaven. This mural is entitled Graduation Day. As you can see, the angels are ascending the steps to receive not their diplomas, but their halos. And at the very foot of these steps is Cody. Cody was 13 years of age when he died in a tragic accident. But he loved being a cowboy. He loved riding his horse, wearing his cowboy hat and red cowboy boots, and he wasn't always the most patient of young men. He had the habit, like so many boys his age, of trying to hurry people along. And so the artist has placed him here at the foot of the steps, hurrying the angels up to receive their halos. This young lady in blue is Shirley. Shirley was a collector of teapots and Precious Moments dolls. And so here she is, pouring tea for her favorite Precious Moments doll. Now Mr. Butcher has painted himself into this scene. Do you have any clue as to where he might be? That's right. He's standing in the balcony below the blue curtain, holding a large filled popcorn. Now why would Mr. Butcher be doing that? That's right. He loves to eat popcorn. Now, Mr. Butcher is just 58 years of age, but he has reached that stage in life where he's starting to gray a little, so he's added a tinge of gray to this young man's hair. But Mr. Butcher said the most distinctive feature of all is the fact that he has no halo. Just above the blue curtain, we see another young man wearing a blue ball hat. This is Dusty. He is playing catch with his sister Afton. Dusty and Afton were killed tragically in an accident, but they love playing games together. And so the artist has placed them into this scene, forever playing catch in heaven. Now I'd like to call your attention to this mural. This one is in this mural are scenes from the book of Isaiah. For instance, the lion lying down peaceably with the lamb. Isaiah tells us that a child shall live to be 100. Now this young man is whistling a merry little tune, living sort of a carefree life, completely unaware of God's wonderful blessings. But you know what? If he would just turn around and look, he would see that surely goodness and mercy have been following him all the days of his life. Just up from Shirley, the girl kneeling in the flower bed, this is Jennifer. Jennifer died shortly before her 8th birthday, and the last words she spoke were, "Jesus, thank you for my mommy and daddy." And so the artist has placed into her hands a mom symbolizing her mother and a poppy symbolizing her father. Just out into the left of the cloud is Brad Shardley. Brad died in a tragic automobile accident at the age of 16, and his great ambition in life was to become a professional basketball player. Bradley could not realize that dream while he was with us, and so the artist has placed him into this scene, goodness with a heavenly hope. Just down the way we see a young man with a fishing pole sitting on an island. This young man is Danny, and Danny represents all the fishermen who have made it to heaven. Now I'd like to call your attention to the very large mural in the center. This is entitled Hallelujah Square. This is what heaven might look like through the eyes of a child. This young lady in red evidently has lived a very sad life, for there is a tear streaming down her cheek, and she is holding a blue handkerchief. But once she passes through this gate, she will enter a place where there are no more tears. and she will be greeted by a heavenly greeting committee, this young angel about to present her with a pink or red rose. Now this young man we've been quite concerned about. And we think it just might be his first day on the job. Somebody once said we look alike. What do you think? This beautiful young girl with her dog is Casey. Casey at age 10 died of cystic fibrosis. And her favorite thing in all the world was her dog, Brooke. She preceded Brooke in death. And so the artist has placed her on the Hallelujah Square, forever reunited with her favorite animal. This beautiful young girl with the golden locks standing on the step is Colina. Colina, at age 6 weeks, contracted meningitis and encephalitis. And from that moment on, could not walk or talk. In fact, she spent the rest of her life in a wheelchair. And one day, when she was 21 years of age, her family brought her to the chapel. And Mr. Butcher happened to be painting in here that day. And he was very impressed with that young woman. How her eyes lit up for all the beautiful paintings she saw. Colina died at the age of 22. But Mr. Butcher has placed her on the Hallelujah Square, not sitting in her wheelchair, but standing upright, holding her favorite dog, a Precious Moments clown dog. Just up from Colina, we see another young girl who no longer needs her crutches. The angel has taken them away, and she is running to be in the arms of her mother. Just up from this young girl, we see another young girl, Colette. She has her arm around a young boy. This young boy is Philip, Mr. Butcher's second oldest son, who died tragically in an automobile accident at the age of 26 in 1990. And just 2 years to the day, Colette, at age 14, also died in an automobile accident. And Colette's favorite thing in all the world was the sight of a rainbow. And so here she is on Hallelujah Square, pointing out the rainbow to Mr. Butcher's son, Philip. And the two, by the way, are not related. Just over to the right of the angel is sitting on a red stool. He's going about his heavenly task of, can you guess?
Broken hearts.
That's right, mending broken hearts. Very good. But can you guess the kind of tape he's using? Ticker tape. Now, this nurse angel standing behind the doctor was added only last month. And I told my sister-in-law about this, and she's a nurse. And she said that the nurse actually should have been painted in front of the doctor. This is a friend of Mr. Butcher who loved making toys for small children. And so that is what he's doing on Halloween. Toys for small children as they arrive. And yes, our favorite pets, our cats and our dogs, also make it to heaven. Now I'd like to call your attention to the very top step. On the top step is the only adult painted into this scene. Have any idea who this might be? Right, this is Jesus. One day Mr. Butcher went back to the balcony and took the overall composition of his work, and he was pleasantly surprised to notice Jesus in the very center of this mirror. Now this is something he had not planned to do, but he was well pleased that he had. For as he has said, he always tries to place Jesus in the very center of his heart and life. Please feel free to linger and look at the Beatitudes. And if you go down the hallway a ways, you will encounter two memorial rooms. One a dedication to Mr. Butcher's son, Philip. The other dedication to Tim Ryan, a friend of Mr. Butcher, who died. Also in that room are books of remembrance that you may sign on behalf of a departed friend or loved one.